Hey there, and a huge welcome to all the 8th grade students joining us for today's Explainer. I am absolutely thrilled to have you here. Today, we've got a fantastic journey ahead of us. We're going to literally look under the hood of American democracy and see exactly how all the gears connect. From the laws that govern us to the media we consume and the elections we participate in, it's all part of one massive, fascinating machine. And honestly, the best part, you are one of the most important pieces of that entire machine. So let's dive right in. Okay, let's take a quick look at our roadmap for today. We'll be hitting 1. Foundations of civic participation, 2. Media and public opinion, 3. Parties and interest groups, 4. Campaigns, voting, and elections, and 5. Civic problem solving. Now, while those might sound like 5 totally different topics, they're actually one continuous path that empowers you to solve real problems right in your own community. So what does liberty actually look like in a constitutional democracy? The Statue of Liberty is a pretty incredible symbol, right? But liberty isn't just a statue standing perfectly still in a harbor. True liberty is active. It requires our active participation and a real knowledge of how our political system actually works. Basically, to keep liberty alive, we have to understand the tools we have and learn how to use them.
All right, let's start with Section 1, Foundations of Civic Participation, the Rules of the Game.
Before we can even think about solving public problems, we got to understand the structures that hold our society together. So let's look at a really big concept from our OpenStax text, federalism. Federalism is basically an institutional arrangement that creates 2 relatively autonomous levels of government, the national government and the state governments, and both of these levels act directly on behalf of the people. Think of it kind of like how your school operates. You got the principal who sets the overarching rules for the whole building, right? That's like the national government. And then you have individual classroom teachers who set specific rules just for their own room. That's like the state government. So why does this actually matter for you? Well, this division of power means you don't just have one single pathway to make your voice heard. If you want to see a change, you literally have multiple levels, local, state, and federal, where you can jump in and push for solutions.
And hey, you don't just participate through the government either. Enter civil society. This is the entire array of non-governmental groups, associations, and institutions that citizens form and join. Now, you might be thinking you got to be 18 to be a part of this, but no way. As 8th graders, you're already participating in civil society. Whether you're in a school club, a neighborhood group, a youth sports league, or even a local volunteer spot, you are actively practicing the norms of trust and civility that make a democracy tick. The C3 framework points out perfectly that civic engagement requires deliberating with others. It's totally not a solo activity where you're just sitting in a room by yourself. It's all about respectfully debating, listening to different perspectives, and rolling up your sleeves to work alongside others.
Moving right along to Section 2, Media and Public Opinion, Cultivating Reality.
So, if we need to deliberate with others, we really have to ask ourselves, where are we getting the information we're actually discussing? Well, that is exactly where the media comes in. Now, what's really interesting here is that, yes, the media entertains us, but it does so much more than that. It watches out for corruption, it sets the national agenda by deciding what stories get covered, and it promotes the public good. The media doesn't just hand us facts, it acts like a giant alarm bell, signaling to all of us when we need to pay attention and take action.
Let's build a solid civics argument around this. Our claim is that the media shapes how citizens view public problems. And our evidence? Well, the media uses specific tools like framing, which is choosing certain pictures and details to make a story look a certain way, and priming. Priming prepares citizens to think about an issue before it even happens. It's kind of like how a movie trailer primes you to feel scared or excited before you even step into the theater. Together, framing and priming essentially cultivate reality and set the national agenda. Knowing this makes you a way smarter consumer of information.
All right, time for our first pause check. Think about this. If large media conglomerates buy up a ton of local stations, how might this impact the flow of information to your community? Go ahead and pause the explainer right now and really think about your answer.
And we are back. So, did you figure it out? The reality is, conglomerates can create monopolies, which can actually decrease the flow of diverse information to the public. If one massive company owns literally all the local stations, you might only hear a single perspective on a community issue. And as we know, we absolutely need diverse viewpoints to deliberate and solve problems effectively.
Okay, Section 3, Parties and Interest Groups, Collective Action.
So the crucial point is, once we identify a public problem, we usually realize pretty quickly that we can't fix it alone. We need a team. We need collective action. Here's our claim. Interest groups are a powerful form of political participation. And the evidence?
Citizens form these groups specifically to overcome collective action problems and establish direct pathways of influence. Basically, joining forces in an interest group gives everyday people a much stronger voice than if they were just trying to tackle it all by themselves. There is serious power in numbers.
Let's walk through exactly how this works. Step 1. Citizens identify a shared interest or a public problem, maybe something they heard about through the media. Step 2. They form an interest group to take collective action. And Step 3. That group then lobbies formal institutions, like the state or federal governments we talked about earlier, to influence real public policy. This is exactly how an everyday concern shared by a few folks grows into an actual real-world change in the law.
Up next, Section 4. Campaigns, voting, and elections. Making your voice heard.
Advocating in groups is awesome, but there's another absolutely crucial tool in our Civic toolkit. And this brilliantly illustrates a very specific chronological journey. It's the most formal, direct way citizens impact their government. First up, you have voter registration, getting your name on that official list. Second, campaigns. That's the period where voters really dig in and learn about the issues and candidates. Third is voter turnout, which is the actual day you go and cast your ballot. And finally, elections, the process that tallies the votes and determines our representation. It's a step-by-step journey that translates public opinion straight into public leadership.
Okay, it's time for our second pause check. Let's challenge your memory on federalism and constitutional protections. The question is, how does the U.S. Constitution restrict both state and federal governments from taking away your right to vote? Pause the explainer and see if you can think of the specific amendments.
All right, let's see how you did. The 15th, 19th, and 26th Amendments prevent governments from abridging citizens' right to vote based on race, sex, and age. These three vital civil rights amendments ensure equal protection. They make sure that a beautifully diverse array of citizens has guaranteed access to the ballot box, and they completely restrict the government from taking that power away.
And finally, Section 5, Civic Problem Solving, Taking Informed Action. This is where we connect all those gears into one single, powerful engine for change. Here's our final claim for today. Civic engagement solves community problems. The evidence? By analyzing public policies, using the media effectively, joining interest groups for collective action, and voting in elections, citizens maintain and improve their societies. Literally, every single topic we've covered today is a vital, practical tool for taking informed action in a constitutional democracy. It's all connected.
Let's do a super quick recap. Federalism divides power, giving you local, state, and national entry points. The media informs you and frames the public agenda. Parties and interest groups amplify your individual voice. Voting formally translates that public opinion into leadership. And together, the whole shebang, all of this civic engagement, is exactly how we solve problems.
Before we go, I want to leave you with a transfer question to take out into the real world. Think of a specific problem in your own community right now. Based on everything we explored today, how could you use the media, a local interest group, or an upcoming election to start solving it? You've got the tools, you know the rules of the game, and your role in civil society is just waiting for you. Think about it, and more importantly, go out and take action. Thanks so much for joining me today, and keep asking great questions.